Chag Sameach. When I lived in Los Angeles, I lived in the Pico Robertson area, which is quite a Jewish area. When it was Simchat Torah, I would tend to go from shul to shul to shul to do the dancing and the hakafot, and there were 20, 30 shuls in the walking distance. And it was amazing how each one was different. Some of the larger synagogues, they would have just rooms full of revelers and clergy up on chairs and loudly singing the word of the hakafah, dancing in circles and no room for anybody, probably too much shikr. And others would be smaller and more organized, and sometimes when it was for the egalitarian synagogues, men and women would be dancing together and taking it all in and eating and drinking in between the hakafot. One community I went to, an emerging community as they're called, non-denominational, would have people dance around like like a snail or a snake. It would make these shapes with the dancing. Everybody just loved it. People would look forward to all year to it, and you had to be 21. They'd check your ID to enter. One of my favorites on that night would be to visit some of the smaller studying places, the yeshivot, where there would just be 20 people there. These are people who would spend, there was a kollel where they would study, and they'd spend all their life basically studying Talmud and Torah. And so on Simchat Torah, them and their families and some of the financial supporters would come, and they would just dance, and you could really tell their dedication of this is what they did day in and day out. It was not abstract, it was their whole life. What was so nice is I was not alone in making the rounds. Like all of the neighborhood, men and also women and children and the elderly and from so many different backgrounds, going to Syrian Jewish synagogues and going to this and to that and to Yemenites and to Reform and Conservative and all different kinds of traditional. And it's the same also in Israel. In Israel, people in Jerusalem walk from synagogue to synagogue. It's one of the only nights when people sometimes go into the Hasidic neighborhoods and feel really welcome there, Mea Sharim and Geula. And thousands, you can see thousands on these football stadium type stands, banging their feet and dancing while the rabbis dance in circles around with the Torahs. And you can go there dressed in your regular clothes. You don't have to be dressed in white and black and still feel welcome. And I always felt it was like as close as possible to the vision of the whole Jewish people celebrating at once. Really, Am Yisrael together, Am Yisrael Chai. And so what was that unity? What was that unity? Well, it was not a unity based on interpretation of the Torah, because very different interpretations. It was not a unity based on dogma, because everybody had a very different way of thinking about Jewish life. It was not a unity based on even how you are supposed to learn and study, what books you use. But it was a different kind. It was a unity that was based on the idea that we're all together, have a love of Torah, however we each approach Torah. A unity because we all go through the history in the same way, and we all think we're all completely different until the outside world says, well, you're actually exactly the same, and treats us the same. And also a love for the origin of the Torah, for the divine, however we each understand divine to be, and believing that the divine and history and the universe have a love back for us, and it manifests in how we dance through life. And we dance with our tradition and with our God, and we believe God danced back with us on this evening. And on this night, we try to push aside for those few precious moments how difficult it's been this weekend, all of the other things going on, and we push aside our differences, we push aside our improbable survival through millennia and everything we've been through, all the tremendous changes we've witnessed in the whole world as we've tried to maintain who we are, as empires have come and gone, as inventions and technologies have changed, despite all of our exiles and our wanderings and our tragedies. And yet we're still here. We're still here dancing with our Torah. It's an improbable miracle. And every community in its own way of dancing with it. 70 pathways to the Torah, maybe 70 different ways we each find wisdom, and then we each dance with our tradition, representing an infinity. But also believing that as we keep doing so, we receive what we need to continue. And there are moments of joy and moments of pain that are part of all of it. And so for us, after a whole month of holidays, as we pray for a new year, that's what we do. We gather last night and this morning, and we dance with our Torah. And the Torah we don't believe is just an immovable, inanimate object, but it's one that returns our love to us. The God and the Torah, they love us also for our resilience, for our tenacity, that we keep on going through all the pressures and everything that happens to us. And we believe that we're loved because of our love of life and our open hearts, and that we continue to try and reach out with open hearts and be instruments for love in the world. And that we're loved because we maintain our mission to heal our world despite seeing all the horrors of mankind. And we're loved because we build our funny little huts and shake our funny plants and lemon, as we have for thousands of years, and try our best to understand the divine will. We understand the Torah as God's love letter to the Jewish people. It tells of how God fell in love with us and how we fell in love with God. And every custom and every practice of all of it is just one more expression of all of it, even as we all have different ways of doing them and carrying it on. And on some level, it doesn't matter. All we try and do is face the challenges of history with courage and faith and steadiness, as we'll read in the book of Genesis, our patriarchs and matriarchs did 3,500 years ago and still inspire us. And as our people did, wandering through the desert, facing before that slavery and all the endless challenges that they faced, and war and struggle and setbacks because of their failures, and comeback because of their courage. And as we kept recommitting and returning with fullness to our vision of bringing that wholeness and that peace. And so in Simchat Torah, we're united by these simple truths: love of Torah, together through our history, facing tragedy, and all the rest is commentary on this day. Commentary that brings us to the brink, the other days of the year, brink of disaster. But on this day we hold on to all the rest is commentary, because we know that the only truths that matter is our unity in the face of everything for each other, unity of the love of Torah, of our tradition, and unity in believing that on some level God, the divine, the universe, loves us back. And then we try and keep up that unity in our common dance all the other days of the year, and hope they can inform everything we do, even as we need it so much in these particular days ahead, and hoping to carry us to victory and to peace. Chag Sameach.